Hello and welcome to UniqEduStory. Ignoring the process of career development in childhood is similar to a gardener disregarding the quality of soil in which a garden will be planted, says Niles and Harris Bowlesby. Educators inspire, motivate, and support children in academic, social, and emotional and career development. Parents, peers, friends, media, and our community also influences this process. We often fail to understand the importance of each one's role in a child's life. Children do notice the words of encouragement, praise, and recognition. Active involvement of parents in the learning processes have positive impact on the child's performances. Parents and family members must learn strategies to support the child's development and academic performances. We have with us an amazing personality, Mrs. Mukta Sharma, who is an academic consultant for enhancing quality of teaching and learnings in the school ecosystem. Mukta ma'am has worked across industries, including but not limited to biotechnology, IT, and education sectors. She has seen the various facets of school education and the important ones being school administration, curriculum designing and implementation, training teachers and school leaders, counseling in the education sector, and macro management of K-12 schools. She is an out-of-the-box thinker, committed towards the growth of people, especially teachers, trainers within the organization, and has been proactive in assessing the training and development needs and effectively aligning the programs with business objectives. She is indeed an effective communicator with exceptional interpersonal skills and has hands-on experience in training and development of teams. Welcome, Mukta ma'am, to UniqEduStory. Thank you very much for giving the time to come on this platform to help address some concern of our parents and children. It is a pleasure to have you here. We look forward to learn so much from you, ma'am.
Thank you, Madhu, for such a wonderful introduction. I'm really honored by that.
So, ma'am, with such beautiful expressions, I think I'm actually awed with your persona already in the past communications which we have been having. We wish to, the parents here, they also wish to ask you from the expert credentials you already have, like there are questions from parents coming up like, how is career development different from child development? Could you throw some light on this, ma'am?
Yes. Madhu, this question stems from the fact that we as a stakeholder in our kids' life have misplaced understanding of the purpose of sending the kids to school. If the purpose of sending the kids to school was only to pursue a good career, then why do we have high performing kids from the top notch universities in the country committing suicide on trivial issues? The fact of the matter is that we at school only focus on supporting the kids in pursuing the career, like career of their choice, getting admissions into the college of their choice. Whereas the need should be to build certain life skills in the child, like being able to face the challenges of life, which should be the most important purpose of education. That kids should be able to accept failure, learn from their failures, and move on. So, as long as all the stakeholders realize that honing the key competencies needs to be the most important purpose of sending the kids to school, and when the moment we start focusing on holistic development of learners, career development is automatically going to happen. If a child has a skill set of facing the challenges of life, making decisions, critical thinking, creative thinking, there is no way the child will not be able to have a good career. So we all need to be focused on developing these skills, and career development will automatically happen.
Wow. Thank you so much for explaining in such detail the difference between career development and child development, ma'am. In that case, would you think that it is too early when parents start planning career of their child at ages 3 to 8 years?
See, as we say, career development is the profession that the kids going to pursue for the rest of their life. So, barring a few child prodigies, kids need to experience multiple options to be able to identify their passion. Say, for example, a child is experiencing skating and loves skating, is enjoying it. Now, based on that, if the parents or the school educators and everyone start pushing the child to pursue a career in skating without even giving the chance for the child to explore maybe swimming, maybe some other forms of dance or some other forms of sports, we are only killing the prospective Hussains or Sachin Tendulkar before even they are born. So our need of the hour is that we give multiple exposure to the kids, let them experience various avenues, and then based on which they themselves should be able to identify their passion and then move on from there, rather than imposing a career that we feel is apt for them.
So you mean that the education system is already being redesigned, or it is redesigned towards it being child centric, right? And
Yes,
do
that's the
you
most
suggest?
important thing.
Okay. And so, do you suggest that the school education system needs to incorporate some engagement or being, creative awareness amongst the parents too? There should be
Yes,
some
yes,
involvement of the parents too.
absolutely. We need to educate or sensitize parents towards not imposing their own personal aspirations on the child and expose the kids to varied options that are available to them, and then enable them to be able to take decisions for themselves, honor their decision.
So, ma'am, a child's play is his talk, and the toys are his words. Children have the right to be children. We all know that this is their time to play, have fun, be in a land of fantasy. Then why all this chaos of the right time to set up a ground for career planning, behavioral and physical awareness? Ma'am, how would you please share your views on this?
Yes, Madhu, it's a very pertinent question that you have put across. Unfortunately, we are living in a society with strong dichotomy. On one hand, we talk about kids being kids and letting them play, letting them be themselves. On the other hand, we impose so many do's and don'ts on them that their creativity is absolutely curbed. A preschooler is born, it's an innate tendency of us as humans being observant, being critical thinker. It is in the school that we condition, or I would say not only school, even at home, we condition kids to so much that they do not think about their own self. I mean, the critical thinking is something which we totally curb. So we have to sensitize our parents, we have to sensitize our educators that we must not kind of label the child right from day one that, oh, this child is good in mathematics, so this child is going to be an engineer only. This child is good in this particular aspect, so the child would only pursue that kind of a career. We have to give them the chance to play, through play explore various careers, experience those careers, and then figure out what is it that they enjoy the most and want to take it up for the rest of their life. And that is what would give them a strong, I would say, ground for able to identify and pursue a career of their own choice.
Wow, such methodical explanation. You're amazing, ma'am. You're just amazing. The roots of career development begins early in a child's life. So, what do you mean when we talk about career development for young children?
See, I think we should not be talking about career development for young children. The moment we start doing that, we are only imposing our unfulfilled aspirations on the kids. So that is not what we should be doing. We have to, as an educators, as a, I would say, the change maker in the society, educators have a most important role to play in that, that they should not be kind of imposing their own aspirations on the kid in any which way. Varied, experiences is what should be our aim. Informing the kids about the various kind of career options that are available to them, not only the parents, but also not only the student, but also to the parent. Most of the parents come with the mindset that, oh, probably we only have 5 6 career which is going to be rewarding for them, like being doctor, being engineer, being IAS officer. And if somebody needs to balance their life, like ladies, so take up teaching, so few labeled options, and they are not able to think beyond that. But as an educator, we know that these days there are lot many options. Like, I'm sure many of our parents are not even aware of the fact that these kids could be bloggers, these kids could be YouTubers, and earning much more than a doctor or an average engineer would earn. So we need to sensitize our parents and let the kids, as repeatedly I have been saying, our role is only to give opportunities for the kids to experience varied options and then take a call on themselves. Respect their decision in any which way, which keeps changing also. A child who loved skating 2 years back now must be really bored of it and doesn't want to take it. So we need to respect that and let the child pursue something else.
Absolutely. So then we come to the one of our prime questions of today, which is that there has always been a mark-driven approach to students learning in schools. Though the a new education system implementation has brought about changes in the primary section, the secondary section is still evaluated based on the marks a student gets. So, ma'am, what is your take on this?
Unfortunately, Madhu, what you're saying is absolutely right. We are living in a marks driven society wherein every stakeholder, I would say the school management, if we're talking about especially the senior classes, our school management assesses the performance of a school based on the number of toppers the school gives every year. The number of students who get admission in IITs is the criteria on which the performance of the school is assessed. It is not based on that, okay, how many of our students are able to practice entrepreneurship right from the day they leave school. We do not do that. As a result, the school team, right from, as I said, management to teacher to student, we are only chasing marks, which is not a very desirable thing to do, but we all do that. National education policy has made quite a few good recommendations, but to see them on ground probably is going to be a gradual process. Now we are talking about academic banks. So we need to stop glorifying toppers. You know, in a school, a child scores 100% and the child becomes a hero. The media reaches the place and we start glorifying the topper, ignoring somebody who scored probably 99.8, who is as good as the 100%er, you know, but we tend to ignore that. And this glorification of toppers is what leads to all that we have been talking about chasing marks. So I'm not saying we need to acknowledge the efforts put in by the child who's become a topper, but at the same time, we also have to acknowledge that even the 99.8 percenters is the same. So that's what we need to stop. And what we're talking about now, the holistic development of the learners, creating academic bank for each and every learner. So a lot of new recommendations have come which make me feel extremely positive about the entire scenario in times to come.
Yes, so we are still basically glorifying toppers. We are surely doing that, and we need to change that. So, how do you think we could avoid doing that?
As we said, NEP itself has recommended academic banks. When we say
Okay.
academic, what we mean is the performance of the child all through the year in all the development domains, be it physical, be it cognitive, be it affective domain, whatever we talk about. So we need to monitor, record the progress of child against probably the self-reference criteria itself, not comparing one child with the other, but comparing child's own performance with the past performance. So when we have a mechanism to monitor and record this progression of the child, automatically the topper is something which will be diluted. And every child can be identified with their own growth areas and their own strengths on which we could work on the child.
So, we will see change in India soon.
Absolutely.
Great.
We have started seeing, but yes, it needs to reach to the masses. It's going to take a little more than what it is. Ours is a big country.
Absolutely. So, there was always a performance pressure on the child by parents, family, community, or educators. What must we do to create some awareness amongst all to reduce this pressure, ma'am?
Yes, the performance pressure on child is way too high. And this comes from all the stakeholders, be it the parents, be it the educators, be it the family members, and everyone, which puts a child in a shell where the child is not able to come out of that shell in any which ways. So, to reduce that, creating awareness amongst the parents is very important. You know, Madhu, it is so unfortunate that our parents, you know, when they put a child in a good school, they spend money on the child's education. Even in a preschool stage, they would like to flaunt that. When they are sitting in a gathering, they would like to say, you know, oh, my child goes to the best possible school in the vicinity. Come on, beta, why don't you sing a poem that you've learned in your school? Why don't you show your book, what you have in your school? And they would like to flaunt that, disregarding the kid's interest or disregarding whether the child wants to do that or not. Parent, they have such unrealistic expectations that maybe the parent is altogether from a vernacular background. Now the parent has put the child in a school which is an English medium school, and they expect that the child will start speaking in English. They totally disregard the fact that spoken English would be developed based on the environment at school as well as at home. It matters, So they would disregard that, and they would only associate with the amount of money they're spending on the child's education, and they would start demanding everything from the school, be it the teachers, be it the like everyone in the school system, that my child should start speaking in English because I have spent so much money, and not because I'm giving this kind of environment along with you for child to develop that. So the pressure, yes, it is on everyone. I mean, from every corner, and it has adverse effect on the child's self-esteem, the child's confidence level. So sensitization of the parent, creating awareness of the adverse impact, is something we as the think tank in the education sector needs to be working towards.
Absolutely awesome, ma'am. We all could be judgmental in our kids' failures. Do you agree with this, ma'am? And what efforts could change such behavior?
Yes, we are judgmental on our child's failure. In fact, we do not let the child fail at all. I mean, we would like to carve the path for our kids as teachers also, as parent also, and then, don't want the child to look here and there. Otherwise, you would fail. And the moment a child fails, we are so judgmental. We told you not to waste your time in sports. You kept doing that. You did not listen to me. That's the reason you're scoring so low in your academics. We are so judgmental that, oh, now that you have not scored well in academics, you can't have a good career in life. It's the end of it. So we do not let the child make mistakes, learn from their mistakes, and be ready to venture out into new options and probably make new mistakes. So what we need to teach the kids is, yes, it is okay to make mistakes or fail, learn from your failures or mistakes, and then move on. After all, I would like to quote Dr. Abdul Kalam over here, that fail is nothing but first attempt in learning. So we need to live that. We need to let the child live that, and then the child will be confident and would be a risk taker. After all, you need to take educated or well thought risk in life anyhow.
So, ma'am, I am the person who has done this big mistake. I am the person who has done all this as I feel guilty now, rearing my children this way. I am sure I am guilty of having made this crime. And then, but then still, our greatest glory cannot is that you cannot ever fail, but each time we fail, we must know that we will be rising high, and
Absolutely.
then we must all accept that every failure is a time step to success. Maybe we won't realize this now, but then we will realize the fact that it is in the failures that we learn the most. Absolutely, ma'am. And
Yeah.
I think I have also learned that we learn to be humble and be more human after struggling through these failures, and then we will have those stories to tell in the future about all our past failures, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
And so we must actually let the children or the students know that they should not be affected when they are being judged, but when they feel that they are being judged by others, they need to be patient and maybe overcome all the situation And then even they would have a lot of stories to tell about their journey when they are on their way to towards success, I'm sure.
Absolutely, absolutely right, Madhu.
So, ma'am, parents are also guilty of imposing their personal aspirations on kids regarding career options and actually ignoring kids' interests and aptitude. What would be your advice on this?
Yes, we know that this is happening, and sensitizing the entire society on this aspect is very important. We need to let people know that, just because you own a big business doesn't mean your child would be automatically taking over that business and managing the show. The child may or may not be wanting to do so, right? And this needs to be given due recognition and acceptance by everyone else. So this can happen through multiple channels, media being one of the most important channel. So through the discussions that we are having today, multiple conversations taking place with various stakeholders, sensitizing everyone on the aspect of not imposing their unfulfilled aspirations or what they feel is right for the child. Adverse impact of that is what we should be talking about. After all, any individual is tired of their work only when the work is just work and not the passion. If it is a passion, you will never be tired of doing that. And so we need to make sure that our kids, firstly, enable them to identify their passion, and secondly, to be able to pursue their passion, which can happen, as I said, first is through media, movies. I mean, a lot of good movies are made, and more would be required because movies are the reflection of society, and sooner or later it impacts all of us. Like, I am very fond of this movie, which was Sushant Rajput's last movie, Chichore, wherein he is trying to get his child out of this tendency to suicide because the child was not able to clear IIT. So sometimes parents don't even realize that they're putting pressure on the child, but the pressure on the child is to such an extent that the kids are looking at committing suicide, which goes even unidentified by the parent. So we need to, nowadays, in fact, the practice in the school is good schools have counselors also. So counselors provide a lot of options for the kids with respect to the first identify the passion, and then secondly, what does it take, what kind of qualification, what kind of degrees would be required for the child to be able to pursue their passion. So considering the aptitude of the child in mind, considering the interest of the child and the caliber of the child, the career can be defined for the child, or rather the child can be given an opportunity to choose what they want to do. So nowadays, like NEP is recommending bagless days. So the very purpose of this bagless days is only that we get some expert in some profession, let them come to the school, let every child interact with them, let every child experience what that profession looks like, and then accordingly take a call. That is why in the school now, for the middle school student, we are wanting internships. That's what NEP is recommending, because the moment you have internship, the kids goes and feels the environment, and so will be able to take a call on their interest. So, and we have many vocational skill subjects being introduced as the main subject by CBSE in school, because it is these subjects when the kids start taking up, probably they don't even have to go for higher education. They may pursue their career right after class 12. Why is graduation such a mandatory aspect in our country? When we are not even using that knowledge. If you're using that knowledge, great. For those career, yes. But otherwise, give them all the options, give them entrepreneurship skills, and let them pursue. So we need to be doing that through using media, using counselors, being teachers, educating everyone in the society, and give right environment to the child.
Wow, ma'am, this was amazing. And my next question was going to come like, how would children know about various professions in early stages of life? And you've answered that also. Amazing, ma'am. Thank you so much. So,
Um,
the education system is broken. What
I
you
have
got,
something more to add, Madhu.
is it?
Here,
Yes, ma'am,
as you were
please do.
talking about early stages of life,
Uh-huh.
early stages of life, when we are talking about exposing to the career, exposing the kids to the various kind of careers, there is lot that we can do within the school system also. Like some that I talked to you probably are for middle school or the higher school, high secondary students. But even for pre-primary or primary, we talk to them about community helpers. Now, community helpers are nothing but the various kind of professions in the society that let the society function smoothly. So that's those experiences shape up the child's interest in a career. Like I would give you a simple example of police. As such, when we look at police, probably all of us have a negative connotation attached to it. That, oh, none of us should be going to police station. I mean, God forbid, we should not have these kind of situations wherein we need to go to police station. Or probably a policeman is always somebody who's after somebody to shoot, and they don't have anything good to do, something like that. We have a module wherein we take our kids to police station, let them experience police station. And let me tell you, we take our kids to various places. I have taken our students, I'm talking about, say, 2 to 5 years of age. We take them, we let them interact with hospital staff, we let them interact with gardener, we let them interact, and we take them to police station also. The very reason is, when they go to police station, police people are so friendly. All those the team, police team, it's so good to see that yes, they also have positive emotions like any one of us. And it's not that they're always with the danda and running around trying to control everyone. And so that one would like to take up this profession also, and has a respect for that. We give them a patch of land and let them grow anything in that land along with the help of gardener. So when they experience organic farming, that's where the respect for farmers come in. And you realize that growing food isn't a very simple thing. So it's not only that you know about farming, but it is also that you know that food should not be wasted. It is very difficult to grow food. And probably one of those kids will be the farmers who would be able to use all kind of technology for growing in the field. And somebody would take farming by choice and not imposed on them. So a lot of activities to be done. Some I've already shared. NEP is recommending all this, and we need to build on that.
Beautiful. So while we were saying that the education system is broken, there is a lot of hue and cry in all circles that the education system is broken. What got you here will not take you there, and we have to learn differently. So trust, truth, ethics, empathy, core values, these are the elements which are required in the coming future. So ma'am, can you throw some light on how can we educate the child of today for tomorrow? Are we preparing the children to face the exponentially changing times?
Uh, Very pertinent question, Madhu. How do we prepare our kids for tomorrow? The first thing that we need to do is reflect on what is tomorrow. As you already said, exponentially changing. Yes, we are talking about VUCA world, meaning that the world is volatile, It is uncertain, it is complex, and it is ambiguous. The kind of professions that are giving lot of opportunity today, and the child stays with us in the school system for good 15 years. Those professions may not exist after 15 years. So what do we do? How do we prepare kids for that? That is where the life skills or the 21st century skills that we talk about play a role. And we have to kind of, change our education system in a manner that within the academic context, that means while we are teaching a particular concept or a subject, we need to be able to develop critical thinking, creative thinking, communication, collaboration, citizenship. A child needs to feel the child can contribute towards the society also in a constructive manner. And the character, which is perseverance, grit, and independent learning is very important. Lifelong learning and independent learning. All that is what we need to develop in our kids. When we have kids with all these 21st century competencies that I mentioned a few of those, that is when the career will automatically follow. Whichever field the child goes in, the child is bound to succeed if the child has all these competencies and the child is high on socio emotional intelligence. When this happens, the career, whatever career child chooses, the child will achieve success. If the child is bored and want to try out new things also, the child would have all the competencies to be able to try something new, and taking educated or well informed decisions, the child will succeed there also. So preparing the child for tomorrow is about giving or inculcating 21st century skills and competencies in the learner. And academic, see, knowledge, acquiring knowledge these days has no meaning. Knowledge is available at the click of a button.
Absolutely.
Ability to apply knowledge is what we need to give to our kids, as opposed to say maybe 50 years back or 100 years back, when even knowledge acquiring was important. But now it is all about being able to seek knowledge from the various sources that is available and apply knowledge. That is what we need to give to our kids for
Absolutely.
preparing them for tomorrow.
Beautiful, amazing. I think people must keep rewinding to see this answer of yours. I mean, it is so amazingly explained, and I think you could explain those core values which we must learn for the future. Can you just pinpoint those values again, ma'am? The communication skills and the
Okay. See,
yeah,
what we are talking about is 6 C's. That means your critical thinking, your creative thinking, your communication, your collaboration, your character. Character will include both your, as I said, your perseverance, your grit, your able to face the challenges of life, everything, socio emotional quotient, and then the citizenship. That is how constructively am I able to contribute towards the development of society. It's not just about my development. My development happens when I'm able to contribute towards the development of society per se. So when all these values or all these competencies are there in the child, in fact, one of the most important competencies that I was talking to you about being lifelong learners or
like
independent learners, because at the end of the day, the child finishes education only to realize that this knowledge is of no use to me because the world has moved on. Good. But if the child can learn on his or her own, the child will be able to still create a place for themselves in the professional world the child is in at that point in time. So that is what is very important for the child to succeed. Media literacy these days, I would say, is very important because media has plethora of information, some authentic information, some information with hidden agendas. So it is very important for us to enable the kids to discern between the right and wrong and take the information which is authentic and ignore something that is not so authentic.
Beautiful, mind blowing, ma'am. This is mind
Thank you.
blowing. The information, the explanation is amazing. So, ma'am, we have a child whose interest is in dinosaurs, but has difficulty changing focus when needed. How do we support this interest while encouraging the development of new interest in that child?
Very important. But then before I answer this question of yours, I think we all need to understand that why do kids get stuck to one particular object? Especially in early stages of life, whenever they like a particular object, they stuck to it. Like in your case, you're talking about dinosaurs. They start loving dinosaurs. Now, what happens is it's very difficult to get them away from dinosaurs. And why they love dinosaurs? Because probably they have read too much about dinosaurs. They have seen too much, many movies on dinosaurs, and according to them they have a good knowledge base about dinosaurs, so they can predict what dinosaurs will do. Every child has a tendency to emulate an adult because the child is living in a world wherein most of the things are unknown to the child. So if there is one particular aspect where child knows a lot, so child gets this feeling of individuality, that yes, I know I'm an adult now, and so the child doesn't want to move away from that. This tendency of emulating adults whom the child sees as very knowledgeable, but for this particular child, the knowledge is only about dinosaurs. So, and they want to emulate an adult, so they don't want to go beyond that. Now, it is for us as adults, be it the educators, be it the teachers, that how do we let the child move from this and learn something new. Say, for example, a child is fond of dinosaurs, and now we need to let the child know about domestic animals and wild animals. If I start teaching the child, or as a mother or as a parent, I talk to the child, आपका वो डोमेस्टिक उस पे एग्जाम है ना, तो आप ये डायनासोर छोड़ो, वो एनिमल्स पढ़ो. The child will automatically be disconnected, and it will be very difficult for you to let the child learn. But if we start, okay, wow, dinosaurs are good, why do you like dinosaurs? The child will give you some answer. Okay, what do dinosaurs eat? The child will give you some answer. Now, can you have dinosaurs at your home? Then child would say something that whether the child can have or child cannot have. So when it reaches a point wherein you can say that you cannot have dinosaurs because they're too huge in size, your bed is not of that size that you can accommodate a dinosaur on your bed or something like that, then you start saying, okay, what is the animal that you can actually have in your house? Can you have some animal in your house? Then that is what the child will start talking, huh? Maybe the dog, maybe the cat, and something like that. So from there, you then bring them to the domestic animals. And this it is then when you start talking to them about domestic animals, they would be receptive and they would like to learn about domestic animals. But then if you suddenly expect them to shift gears, no, that won't happen. But gradually drifting them away from dinosaurs and heading towards something that you want them to learn on, and without them knowing about it, is the skill set or the smartness that we as adults must develop, either whether we are parent or whether we are teachers.
Wow, such beautiful explanation. And I think this is an important integrated learning, isn't it, ma'am?
Yes, it
So,
is about integrating learning. So,
okay.
when you start teaching a dinosaur lover, you want to teach them, say, a letter A or a letter D or anything, you link it to dinosaur in some way. One dinosaur, when you're teaching them number, you draw the picture of dinosaur. Two dinosaurs, three dinosaurs. As opposed to the book has one apple, two apple, and three apples. The child will not want to know about it. But dinosaurs, the child will want to know. You want them to learn about colors, So you have a dinosaur made and you let them stick on the boundary, say the colorful bindis for decorating, red bindi, green bindi, blue bindi, those sticker kind of things. So you integrate art along with animal and along with the number of concept. I mean, so the concept of colors, etc. And so integrated learning would happen based on the interest of the child or building on the interest of the child.
Wow. So, ma'am, a child who is experiencing difficulties with reading exhibits a talent of for drawing. Then, how do we use this knowledge to increase their self-esteem? So, this is connected, I think, somewhere. So, could you just explain that too?
Yes. Madhu, what you're talking about is child exhibiting difficulties or exhibiting talent in one area and having difficulties in reading or something like that.
Yes, ma'am.
This is, firstly, we as individuals need to respect the individuality of the child. Every human being is different from each other, and they're good in something and they're not good in something. So here, uh, theory of multiple intelligence, which is given by Dr. Howard Gardner, is very important. As educators also, as parents also, we must know about that. Dr. Howard Gardner says that every human is intelligent, and there are 8 kind of intelligences. The musical intelligences, those kids are inclined towards music, and anything that is associated with music, they would learn much faster through music. They are nature lovers, So those people, the moment you connect their learning to the nature, they learn much faster. There are some visual or the verbose kind of people that they learn only by talking. So one needs to understand all these 8 intelligences. One needs to accept and internalize this fact that every individual is a combination and permutation of all these 8 intelligences in different proportion. We may be good at one thing, we may be lacking something else. And all these intelligences can be developed or honed in kids provided we are able to give the right kind of environment. So, as educationists, as parents, we need to respect the individuality of the child. So, somebody who says the child is good in dance, but the child is not able to read, we need to respect that. At the same time, we need to give enough appropriate environment wherein the child develops on all the intelligences. Say, for example, even if the child is good in dance, we cannot say that it is okay that if the child doesn't read or write. Obviously, we want the child to have the basic literacy skills, if no more, even if the child is good in dancing, right? But what we can do is when we need to teach literacy or reading abilities to this learner, we can include music in it, We say these letters with rhymes. We have some kind of dancing activity included while they are reading or writing. And then they would be glued to what you want to teach them. So that's how we need to move forward when it comes to developing a child's ability in all the areas of development.
Oh, so ma'am, you were talking about developing social all those intelligences and
Mm.
social skills in the learner. But then
Yeah.
there are times when kids are wanting only to be, they are in that comfort zone only with familiar people, right? So, how do we encourage and support child's exploration and self development in this case?
Unfortunately, the society that we live in, especially if we talk of urban India, we are in nuclear families. Nuclear families meaning practically 1 or 2 kids getting absolute attention from their parents. There's no one else with whom they would like to share the attention of their parents, right? As a result, the child has limited opportunities for developing social skills. Whereas for developing social skill, the kids should be able to collaborate. Kids should fight with each other, because when they fight with each other, that is where they are developing, the perspective from the other's point of view. And then again, given the opportunity to be friends once again, they fight one day and next day they're best of friends, and that is where they are developing all kind of skills. They are as I said, that they're developing socio emotional intelligence, wherein they learn to respect others perspective. But our school education system doesn't focus on that. We realize that our society is now, they have limited opportunity for social interaction. So the schools have a larger role to play in terms of building social skills also in the learner. So our focus should change, which is gradually changing. Say, for example, when we talk of, say, foundational stages learning, we only say the objective of foundational stage learner is that by the end of grade 2, the child will be able to know numbers, the child will be able to know letters, and probably some other cognitive areas that we talk about. What we miss out on is that, have we given the skill set for this particular child to take turns, to listen to everyone else, to be able to identify when to be quiet and when to speak, to be able to voice their opinion in a manner that it is acceptable. So the skill of collaboration and all these skills that I talked about are the most important thing that we need to develop through collaborative learning strategies in the classroom now. The role is much larger than what it was earlier, because in a joint family, by default, you would have 5, 6 kids staying together, sometimes fighting, sometimes sharing, and all that happens. But here, all that role now also comes to the school. So we need to be more conscious towards it and working towards that development.
So, when you are talking about joint families and nuclear families, I jump to this question where I wish to know how we can support the child in coping with such challenges or frustrations and learn how to be resilient.
Yes, resilience is one important aspect of one's personality or character. And this would come from the fact when the kids have, say, firstly, I would say self awareness. When you know what your likings are and what your dislikings are, and how you want to build on that, and also the confidence or the self esteem. A child with high self esteem, even if the child fails, the child will be able to bounce back with confidence. And the child who is not high on social emotional learning, as in my first example, I talked about IITians and things like that, despite being high performers in the society. I mean, see, our school education system has evaluated these kids and have assessed them to be high performers. But these very kids are not able to face the challenges of life, because what was missing was resilience. What was missing was inability to accept failure. So we must focus on developing self-esteem and self-awareness. Self-awareness can come from a lot of reflective exercises in the classroom, or when the parents are talking to the child about their own interest. What is it that irritates them the most? What is it that they feel excited about it? It's not only about themselves. In the school these days, we have started talking about, say, circle time, right? Circle time is nothing but wherein the kids expresses their own opinion and also listens to others' opinion. So the perspectives are built and more self-awareness is created. And for self-esteem, positive appreciation, we as adults must make sure that we appreciate the kids in public. But any kind of reformative actions, or any kind, when we feel that these kids need to be pointed out for all their wrongdoings, it should be done in private. That is where the kids will still be able to rectify their own mistakes. So that's where we need to be working on. Let the child make mistakes, let the child learn from their mistakes and come out respectfully out of that.
Amazing tips, ma'am. Thank you so much. There is a lot of stereotyping of roles as boy jobs or girl jobs, and we are not even aware of this many times. How can this be influenced in the future career choices? From a young age, children have stereotyped ideas of what girls or boys or mothers or fathers are doing or can do or should do, maybe. We need to change that, isn't it?
Yeah.
How to keep their options open, and what is your take on this, ma'am? How do we change this world? It is so essential.
Yeah. So, creating a gender neutral society is very important. I would say that especially when we talk of urban scenario, we have come a long way that girls these days take up any kind of profession. Now, in fact, from this year onward, the girls will be going to army also by taking NDA exam, as opposed to earlier when they were only in support roles like doctors or engineers or something like that. Now they would be in the combat role also. And practically, I can't think of any profession which the girls haven't or not taking these days. However, we as society have come this far that girls are taking every profession. But lot needs to be done in terms of raising our boys with a gender neutral perspective. Boys still, very few boys are asked to contribute towards the household chores. Very few. Mostly it is still the responsibility of the girls. We do okay as girls. You cannot go out at night. Of course, I understand there are safety and security concerns, but we still can't be so stereotyped. We have done that. So in the school, it can be avoided firstly by creating a gender neutral context. What do I mean by that? Our books need to reflect girls in varied role and not just mom, not necessarily be somebody who's always in the kitchen and feeding the family. Mom should be seen as someone who's also a provider to the family, earning for the family. So those are books, are context, whether it is some kind of a play performance that we do, wherein we have a gender neutral roles there also, putting the girls in decision making roles as well, and not just some roles that we feel are right for them. So in the school, we need to create that system. As an educationist, we need to create awareness amongst the parents also about the need for being gender neutral, or telling them that what are the options that your girls can have when it comes to career, and not just be a teacher or a doctor. It's good to be a teacher or a doctor. I have been a teacher and now moving forward. But then the point is that if a girl loves to be a teacher, yes. But if the girl loves to be a pilot, that should be allowed. So we need to create that environment. We need to sensitize our boys towards respecting various professions by the girls in the family, and contribute towards the household chores. It is the responsibility of every member of the family and not just about the girls in the family. So some of this would help creating a gender neutral society.
Absolutely beautiful. And the change is happening, and we are actually looking forward for more change to come.
Absolutely, yeah.
Ma'am, now we are coming up to the last question of the interview, where we wish to know that there is a lot of confusion amongst children, even when they reach class 9 or 10th, and about their, the choice of career, or how should that child understand their passion and then choose their career. Could you just help through activities, maybe that we can do, or you can help in some way, throwing some light here.
Yes, first point is that we start accepting that kids of grade 9, for that matter, even grade 12, would be confused about what they want to do, or what kind of, firstly, the career they want to pursue, or what kind of, subjects that they should take. So that confusion exists. First, we need to accept that and not start judging the child because the child doesn't know about it. So we start judging the child that, oh, this child isn't good enough, is not focused, because the child knows nothing about what they want to do in life. So that needs to be avoided. Secondly, we need to enable kids to be able to take informed decisions. How that would happen? As we already said, by giving them multiple opportunities at various levels to experience various professions. That helps them settle down. As a matter of policy, the government or NEP has given a lot of recommendation. The first is about, now kind of, there's no demarcation between the streams that, okay, these subjects only commerce student will take, this only science stream would take, so that there can be a combination of various subjects which will help the kids finally take a call on what they like and what they don't like. A child may take psychology, and along with psychology, the child may take business studies also, because that's the interest that the child has. And then the child can choose a career. Secondly, in higher education, the government has permitted the various lateral entries also. Lateral entries and exit in the various courses, I mean, if the child, say, for example, takes up engineering, and within a year, child realizes that that is not my interest, that child can very well take an exit from the engineering field and take up some other course and get a certificate for the time the child has spent learning engineering. It is not a waste of 1 year, but the child gets a certificate out of that. The child gets a diploma out of that. And finally, when the child completes the entire course, the child gets a degree. The child has an option of exiting at the various points and entering in a course of their choice at a later point in time. So lateral exit and entry permits the child to explore various options. Within the school system, the activities that we can give to the kid for developing, it could be, like recording your own career story. The child can keep doing that through all the experiences that we're talking about. And one fine day, the child can look back to all his experiences and be able to take better decisions. Movie watching helps kids identify what a particular career actually entails. And then, sometimes we can play the various alphabet games with the child, and not many activities which would enhance their knowledge on the various career options available and what these career options are like.
Wow, this was amazing. So, ma'am, we need to accept the confusion that uh, any confusion at this stage is also okay. We must have enabled informed decisions, and then lateral exit and entry. This is the first time I got to know that this is possible in India also.
Yes, it
Lateral
is.
exit and entry. Okay.
Mm.
And then we could make record our story as activity and watch movies together about professions, or more, what I mean, what was that movie about, ma'am?
Which
the
movie?
point the point of movies watching.
See, when they watch the movie, they get to know about a particular career. Say, for
Okay.
example, when a child is watching a war movie,
Okay.
automatically they get to know what a soldier does. If they watch a
Achha.
movie in the context of hospital, they get to know that the doctors
Okay.
need to work day in and day out, and what are the challenges that these doctors have to face, which will
Oh,
help them understand that do they want to do that or
okay.
probably not. So that helps them get a clarity on the profession. They had it earlier, but now they get a different perspective to it.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so, so much, ma'am, for such an amazing interview
Thank
and
you.
clearing as many doubts, bringing clarity of thoughts while upbringing our children. And I would also request you to keep guiding us through in this journey of bringing awareness, motivating, and inspiring our children. Would you please help us again at UniqEduStory platform and keep guiding us more and more, ma'am? Uh,
Of course, my pleasure altogether, Madhu, and I thank you for giving me this opportunity to be able to reach out to your audience. It's wonderful, and I would love to keep doing that because that's how I contribute meaningfully to the society,
wow, thank
in
you so
addition to
much.
doing whatever else I'm doing.
This interview, but then we have some questions directed to you as rapid five. How do you define success?
Success to me is a state of mind, and it is a continuous progression with self referencing criteria. From where I was to where have I reached. I can consider myself successful even for small achievements, and I may not acknowledge my success even if I have a great achievement if I don't have the right frame of mind.
Absolutely beautiful. What career did you dream of when you were a kid?
I wanted to join Air Force as a pilot or Army as a combat officer, which wasn't possible then.
Okay. And what subject did you find to be most fascinating?
I loved mathematics
Okay.
because it just doesn't involve any kind of memorization, and I just
Uh-huh.
loved solving complex problems.
Wow. And there are people who just hate maths. How can they?
Yeah.
What life lessons did you learn the hard way?
I would say life is not fair to anyone. That's the life lesson that I have learned. And then we need to work hard in life and accept whatever we get in life. You can't fight against life. You need to take it in your stride. And then only you'll be happy and successful.
Absolutely. And each person gets their share of hardness or some difficulties in life,
Challenges, yeah.
and the
Life isn't
challenges
fair to
are there.
anyone. It's not fair to
Absolutely.
anyone.
Each one may
Everyone
think,
has their
feeling
own
ki, okay, I
fights.
am the person suffering, but then it is not so. Each one has their challenges. So
Yes,
true.
absolutely.
And what gets you excited about life?
I would say my family, the love and care that I get from people around me is what keeps me excited about doing anything and everything in life because that gives me the confidence that it's okay, I can fail, make mistakes. People around me would still love me, care for me, and so I can try out new things.
Wow. I feel I would be a part of your family from now.
You are. You
So
anyway have
sweet
become a
you
part of our
have been.
family
I
now.
mean,
Yeah.
being in your company has given me a real good insight into many more things. Thank you so much, ma'am.